Okay, so what are we doing here? We're going to do a hands-on with an RG58U Benelec cable, and we're going to put it on to a screw PL259 plug. So there's the cable. We've got to strip off a bit of the cable, essentially a knife. Typically we're looking at about roughly this much. You can cut back later on. And we just make a mark. I like just to make a mark, not to cut through. And by just putting pressure on it, it just breaks the sheath. And we get a clean cut effectively. When I say clean, we don't scar the braid in any way. So the braid is intact effectively. The case right now. This is a fantastic coax cable, really high quality. And as you can see, the braid on this is extremely fine. When I say fine, it's very tight. So it creates a bit of a problem to actually loosen this and fold back onto the cable. It just happens to be this particular batch of the RG58U is that tight. Other batches aren't. So you see, you can just move it or wiggle it a little bit. What I have to do is just free this up at the top a little bit, like that. So it actually removes the tension because it's really compressed onto the core, and it just won't move, which is good from a coax point of view, but bad from what we're trying to do. So we're trying to fold this back onto the plastic here, okay, as much as possible. And if it's very tight, it's difficult to fold it back. So we can sort of spread it a little bit here, but the whole trick is, as you saw in the previous video, you see, it does move, you see, and there is movement, but because it's so tightly wound, it is not flaring up. And because it's not flaring up, it's hard to fold it back. This shouldn't have happened. It just happened because this particular sample of cable that I got literally the other day is a different batch. It's an extremely good coax cable, nothing wrong with that, but from a fold back point of view, bit of a struggle here. So that's not a negative, that's just a negative for this particular cable, but we'll still manage to do that. I'm just loosening it as much as I can. There we go, that's good. You can see it's working now. So we learn as we go. There we go. It looks good. Now move it there, loosen it. Yep. As you can see, that's it. It's the old fold back trick. I think we almost got it there. We can start moving the fold. It should. It's a bit tight, but it'll get there. That's it. It doesn't have to be a great deal. That is enough to grip inside the screw threads, okay? So we'll just twist it a little bit and make it all nice and neat. Now, the next step, if we take this and we have a look, that the idea is that this coaxial bit should end up about there, right? Right at the sort of insulator face. So we really want to clear that, but we don't want any of the braiding to touch that because that will short out. Okay, so we want the core a little bit sticking out. Okay, so I would say we do a cut about here, or an incision, as they say, just a little dab. And that should be enough for me to bend it over, as you can see. Here we go. So this is not a solid core cable, unfortunately. So I'm just going to twist this braid. Or the strands, I should say. That's it. Now, let's not do the mistakes. We've got to put the connector first, bit of heat shield, or shrink wrap, I should say. Heat shield. How did I say that? Okay, now we're ready to go. So we put that in there, and we hold it tight and start screwing it in. And yes, it does screw in. You don't need any clamps or vices. I can feel it going. It just takes a time, it takes a while. You'll see it coming out. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We're screwing it on. It's moving. It's pretty tight, so it's cutting into the braid, which is good. Now you can see the coax coming through, right? I'm going to keep on doing. I'll keep on screwing it until I'm just going to make sure that little bit there is a bit of internal. Just compress it there. That's it. Okay. So that's it. That is done. So what we would do, we would put the heat shield here. Heat shield, heat shrink. Okay. And then obviously when the heat shrink is done, we would just screw the plug back in. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to screw that back in there. Okay. So we've got the plug. And also, I'm not going to solder that in there. When you solder that, it will give it strength because essentially it keeps the plug in place, or the coax in place, I should say, okay? But just to prove a point, what I want to prove is that just purely by screwing it in and holding that, I will be able to lift at least 5 kilos with this cable, okay, without it sliding out. There's a big misconception that, oh yeah, these screw-on fittings are crap because, you know, they'll just slide out and they're not so good. And yeah, exactly. Well, they are good if it's done properly, okay? So I'm going to stop the video here for now. I'm going to hook this up to some weight and then I'm going to pull this and you'll see. At the moment, I've got a very close-up, so we can't do that. So just bear with me and we'll... We're going to do the bag test. The bag is 10 kilos. The plug is still the same plug here. It's not soldered. It's just screwed in, no crimp, nothing. You can actually see it. I'm going to put the connector back on, screw it in. So I've got a slightly better grip. I'll just have it on the end there like that. Hang on. Here we go.
Now, I'm going to try to hold that like that between my fingers. Okay. I don't want to hold the cable, I want to hold the connector, so I'm just going to do that type of hold. Okay. So, don't know how long I can keep this weight on my two fingers, but here goes. I'm going to, hopefully, here's the hand holding it. Hopefully it will only be, hang on, I'm gonna get her grip. I can't grip it properly. Okay, I've got it. I might have to twist it a bit. Okay, here we go. Ready, steady. Ooh. Ready, steady. Oh, oh boy, that is heavy. With two fingers. There you go. I've lifted it. Anyway, I hope you guys can see it. Still, nothing came out. It's still there. Let me unscrew the connector. The coax, where is it? Still inside there. Can you see it? Yeah, there we go. So, for the doubters that don't believe that a properly fitted screw connector, PL259, is sufficiently strong enough to hold 10 kilos worth of coax. Now, you're not going to have 10 kilos worth of coax in a 40 meter dipole or anything else. So, yeah, it's an overkill, I know, but just to prove a point. Take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little video.
Okay, let's have a go with a different coax cable where the braid density is a little bit not as tight, I should say. And this is really to demonstrate exactly what happened on the original video. So you can see how easy it is to do it. So let's just strip this cable. Just make a little incision there, just a notch so we can break it, and just put it under tension and just touch it up here until we can see it breaking through. There we go, it's breaking through. You can see the copper coming out. Oh gosh, it is tight, but it's getting there. There we go. Now, as you can see, this particular braid is, well, it's ideal for what we're doing because it's not so tight. It's still good braid, total copper coverage and so forth. So what we do, well, before we do anything, let's get the plug. Let's just go in here. Let's get the plug. This is the process, okay? So we get the plug, unscrew it, separate the plug basically, take this, slide it through, make sure it's the right side I should say, slide it through there. Now this is the heat shrink. We put the heat shrink through here as well and slide it through here, okay? Once we've got that, we can start doing our work. So what we've got to do, as you can see, it's quite loose at the tip. Let's just zoom in on this a little bit. It's quite loose at the tip. And it's not very difficult to do that. What you do is you just grab it by the tip and just go like that, okay? Just gently. And what it does, it loosens the braid, okay? And when it loosens it, you can see it. It's sort of like a little bag. And all we have to do is just push it gently. Just keep on pushing it. And it just flips over, right? And that's it. We just literally push it through the other side. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Now we grab that. I'm not gonna cut it, but basically let's assume. Well, let's just do the cut. So we want the braid to just clear that when we screw it in. Okay. Okay. Now we just push that through. Comes out the other end. We can trim that later on. And we start screwing this on, literally just screwing it on. And it does screw on. We've got that extra braid here. Just like in the original video, there's just nothing wrong with that. We can put a little bit of tape over that, and then we would slip the heat shrink. I don't need to show you guys how to heat shrink. You just get a hot air gun and just, you know, rub it across gently, up and down until it shrinks, okay? So we've got that done. Once that's on, we can put the rest of the plug in and screw it in. It's obviously not gonna fit here because it's a little bit too big. Oh yeah, okay, well, here we go. So that will screw in. I would get my cutters and I would just literally do this. So he says, not very sharp, my cutters. That's it, so it's cut. And the rest of it is elementary soldering 101. I'm not going to show you that, but essentially be very careful. What I normally do, I use some flux. So I'll get a little dab of flux. Just bear with me and I'll show you guys. Hang on. Flux paste, whatever you want to call it. Just get a dab, just a small dab. And all you do is just put it on there. It's just like a little dab, put it on there. That's all you need. Then, this is the solder. I use, well, 60-40, so it's got a bit of lead in it there. So unfortunately, it's pretty old solder. It's about to run out. So essentially, you've got to get the right temperature. What does it say here? It probably gives you the temperature, but from the top of my head, I normally have mine around 380 degrees. And I make sure that my tip is clean, and I apply some heat here. And I've got a dab of flux, and as that flux starts going psst, and it's melting, I just dab a little bit of solder and I keep on pushing it in until it actually flows in there, because essentially you want the solder to fill in that little hole where the actual center strand is in there. And that's it. You don't have to overdo it, just as much as is necessary to sort of cover that up, and you can normally see that. Now this, I would not hold it in my hand, obviously. I would somehow mount it in a vise or something or other that sort of grips it. So we've got one hand with the solder and one hand with the soldering iron. And that's it, guys. You know, you should know how to solder, so there we go. And the rest is history. I hope this little video is helpful. At least it proves a couple of things. It's very easy to flip the braid back, at least with an appropriately correct coax. The thing is that if you have the really good coax with a very tight braid, there's a little bit more work, like you saw before. So this is also a Benelec cable, but it was a different batch, so it's slightly different. Your mileage may vary, but at least you get the gist of it. Hope that was informative. Take care, guys. Until next time, stay curious.